Good evening. Today is November 6th, 2025, and the time is 6:30 p.m. I will now call the regular meeting of the ISD 191 Board of Education to order. Welcome to those of you who are here in the audience or those watching online. Thank you for joining us. Director Mickelson, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Director Saxey.
Second.
Seconded by Director Chester. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Tonight we will start off with a school report about our Burnsville Alternative High School and our secondary virtual academy. Presenting the report this evening will be Dr. Chris Belmont, Assistant Superintendent, and Kelly Ron, Principal, along with several guests from their leadership team who they will introduce once they get started. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Chair Ward, Superintendent Daniels, members of the board, good evening. This is, I believe, session School 3 and 4 of our school reports series. And so I'm very honored and excited to introduce Principal Ron and Burnsville Alternative High School and the Secondary Virtual Academy.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight to present a few of the ways that BOZ and Secondary Virtual Academy utilize data in planning and decision making. Joining me from the Virtual Academy Building Leadership Team will be Pat Mosey, Landon Parkin, Elizabeth Eiler, and Amy Hill. Molly Romano and Angela Sloniker will be presenting from the BOZ Building Leadership Team. I'd like to invite the VA team to come forward at this time. Our Virtual Academy School Improvement Plan has 3 goals: a student achievement goal, which is reading improvement, a systems goal focused on assessment, and family engagement goal, increasing the attendance rate. Although BOZ and VA are completely different schools with different staff, different leadership teams, and school improvement plans, some of the information on the school improvement plan is similar to both schools. For reading improvement, one of the action steps we are continuing to implement is AVID strategies school-wide. For school-wide AVID, teachers participate in professional development regularly throughout the year. AVID work is also present in teacher collaborative team meetings, discussing AVID strategies and looking at student work. Our big 3 AVID strategies this year are focused note-taking, critical reading strategies, and questioning. Our other action steps for the reading goal includes increasing personalized learning through interventions and embedding grading for equity principles. Social emotional learning will also be increased this year in our high school VA program. Our leadership team has developed specific SEL lessons for high school advisory, which we began last year. Our target for reading is to increase the percentage of students for fast A reading, and we believe these action steps will help increase students' reading levels. High school students have not taken this assessment in VA in the past, and we are implementing this assessment 3 times a year for all secondary students in Virtual Academy for progress monitoring. Students at high risk will also be taking an additional assessment following the winter assessment window. The action steps for the assessment goal involves planning for assessments and increasing the number of students who take state assessments. These state tests require in-person attendance, which can be difficult to implement for virtual students. We have also instituted staff data review processes and database decision-making protocols to enhance the student support teamwork. Finally, the attendance rate goal aims to increase student attendance by optimizing Parent Square, by including more professional development for staff and tracking Parent Square data use. Also, our plans include consistent and increased advisor communication to students and families and implementing an attendance team. You will notice as we progress further on each slide in yellow, we'll show which school improvement goal the data that the person presenting is linked to. Our first example is an example of how individual teachers use data. BLT member and 6th grade VA teacher Pat Mosey will share her examples.
Good evening. Our middle school virtual academy weekly schedule consists of 4 core classes: ELA, math, science, and social studies, which are synchronous blocks of 84 minutes with a 30-minute block of win time built in to our ELA and math. They also have 3 electives, which are asynchronous and have office hours available for one-on-one help. When is what I need, time in middle school, is a 30-minute block of time scheduled during ELA and math where intervention and special ed integration is available in both. In 6th grade, I have the opportunity to have the kids all day. And during my ELA win time, they're spent in breakout rooms with guided reading ability groups, independent reading time with a good book, and one-on-one guidance with vocabulary and comprehension. SPED students are pulled for intensive reading fluency. Data was used from our FastBridge assessments. My 6th graders in math win time spend time in a breakout room. One group is in an accelerated math pre-algebra identified group of students where they're at 7th grade ability. Also a district math program that we invested in called ExactPath, in which students were assessed using a diagnostic tool. This then leads students on a path through a lesson, practice, and mastery of skills. For FastBridge, also assessments were administered. In 7th and 8th grade, the EL teacher and the literacy specialist reviewed the data from their fall FastBridge through a group screening report. They grouped their students according to the skill plan that FastBridge designated to them, and they discussed any outliers, for example, students who scored lower than expected. They have 2 groups of students in 7th and 8th grade that need to work on phonics and fluency, with one slightly more advanced than the other. We also have another group in which students dedicated to vocabulary and comprehension. And the last group is any student that FastBridge deemed on track. The small groups are about 2 to 5 members, each with the exception of the on-track group being larger. We also made note of their Lexile level and discussed what grade level the numbers correlated with. They included the information in a spreadsheet that they could easily access and manipulate. Then they added a rotating schedule for when the interventionist can work with each group in win time. They decided they should work with each group over a 2-week period before rotating to the next group. The remaining students work on an enrichment activity with the ELA teacher. Now the interventionist can make plans for meaningful and explicit teaching to help students advance in the specific skills according to testing data. We hope that this will bring up their overall reading scores to grade level with time. Many of our ideas were from the book. About to complete the work were the book called Essentials of Assessing, Preventing, and Overcoming Reading Difficulties, which emphasized the importance of evidence-based teaching practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Our next example is an example of teacher teams using data. BLT members and high school virtual academy teachers Elizabeth Eiler, Landon Parkin, and Amy Hill will share how their collaborative team is using data.
In the virtual academy at the high school level, we have only one collaborative team that includes all the teaching staff that are required to participate in a CT, as well as our counselor, rather than having single subject teams like you would find in a larger setting. Having a collaborative team that supports cross-categorical teachers is extremely helpful in using our data in meaningful ways. It also allows us to collaborate on supporting students with special needs or special circumstances that may impact their learning, providing them with consistent support across their whole team.
One of the ways that we track data is through a 4 learners chart. This gives us the opportunity to track individual student performance and then be able to back that up against the performances of their peers in order to put together proper modifications and step in when necessary.
So an example of how we use that data is, this is actually an example from our CT that happened recently that we're all very proud of. We were comparing each other's 4 learning charts and noticed a trend that asynchronously we had a bunch of kids on the one end that were just doing exceptional, A, B work, and on the other end, students who weren't engaging at all and barely had a percentage of 0%. So that concerned us. So we started talking about how can we engage kids asynchronously, and looking at some of the teachers in our CT who had seen a little bit more success and asking them, what are you doing that I'm not doing? And we had a really good discussion in that teachers who were making weekly videos of themselves talking directly to the students, not carrying videos over from year to year, but making it truly personalized to that class. We're getting more kids engaged and feeling more of a sense of community. And then we were able to go back and adjust our CT learning goal and our action steps and align it with AVID. I'm also the AVID coordinator for both schools, and I just want to end with saying I'm very proud to be the AVID coordinator of such great teachers. But really, I think this team does an awesome job at keeping everything student focused.
And then in addition, we've developed a spreadsheet to track our student contacts, data, and concerns so that we can all easily collaborate regarding any student between our regular meetings. Being able to take that whole team approach to student data regularly has allowed us to make significant differences in many students' achievement.
Thank you, high school VA team. I'd like to invite the Burnsville Alternative High School team to come forward at this time. The BOZ School Improvement Goals also have an achievement goal of reading improvement. The BOZ Systems goal is database decision-making, decision-making, and the family engagement goal is also to increase the attendance rate. For reading improvement, BOZ also uses the AVID strategies, school-wide, personalized learning, and integrating social-emotional learning and student engagement. Much of the information I shared about the VA action steps are also being implemented at BOZ. Database decision-making priorities include collaborative team data protocols, which are similar to what the high school virtual academy team just mentioned, social-emotional walkthroughs, which I'll describe in a future slide, our continuous learning plans, which will also be shared in a future slide. Our attendance rate goal strategies are also very similar to what I described for virtual academy, with the addition of a BOZ student survey. An example of students using data will be highlighting our continuous learning plans, shared by Molly Romano, a building leadership team member and the BOZ school counselor.
Thanks. Hello. I'd like to take a minute to talk about an important part of our school schedule, Strive. During Strive, our students are given the opportunity to focus on the credit recovery coursework, ensuring they stay on track for graduation. But Strive is more than academics, it's about connection. Each student works alongside an advisor who follows them throughout their entire time at BOZ. Strive reflects our belief that every student deserves personalized support and every student has the ability to succeed. Our credit evaluation is a document that we carefully review and make adjustments to every quarter. The credit eval is designed to be simple, organized, and user-friendly. It shows our students which classes they have completed and which classes they are eligible to take through credit recovery. Once a student has passed a class, it is marked completed, and the total number of credits is calculated at the bottom. In addition, we use a color-coordinated system that transforms a credit evaluation into a visual roadmap, which creates a clear visual for our students. Lastly, all students at BOZ have a continual learning plan. This plan outlines how many credits are required to graduate, how many the students have earned so far, and how many are still needed. Each CLP displays the student's estimated graduation date based on their current credit progress, their schedule for the year, which also uses the same color-coordinated system found in our credit evaluation for consistency and clarity. Beyond academics, students create academic, personal, and post-secondary goals with the support of their Strive teachers. At the start of every quarter, students review and update their CLP alongside their Strive teacher, reflect on the previous quarter, and set new goals. When the CLP is completed, the students bring it home to share with their parents and guardians and return the signed document to their advisor. Through Strive, our credit evaluation and continual learning plan, we are not just preparing students to graduate, we are empowering them to understand their journey, take pride in their progress, and confidently step toward the future they are building for themselves. Thanks.
Thank you, Molly. Another example of data use is leadership teams using data. Angela Sloniker, a building leadership team member and BOZ English teacher, will share about our student survey.
Do you want to go to the next slide? Thank you. This slide highlights the student survey we send to students during the second quarter of the school year. It provides us a lot of valuable information. The survey is a great way for us to see which students feel they may or may not connect at BOZ. So like in this example, that 9.7% is Those students identified as not having any connection. And so this allows us to see which students answered that way, and we can then make the necessary connections. A lot of times they are kids that have connections, they just didn't read the question correctly, but it's a good tool for us. Another question we find impactful is when we ask students if there are any resources they need, like mental health help, food help, homework help, and then we can connect them with the perfect staff member to help facilitate that conversation. Other topics that we ask are about their progress towards graduation, like do they know that they fill out the CLP every quarter with their Strive teacher and that they know how many credits they need to graduate. And then lastly, one of the ones I wanted to identify or point out was that we asked them how safe they feel at school, both physically and emotionally.
Thank you, Angela. Finally, I will give a few examples of leadership using data, some of the ways that I use data at both BOZ and VA. This year, we are doing periodic surveys and check-ins to staff on the implementation of new procedures such as the cell phone policy and attendance handbook. Other examples of my data use as a leader are that I track course completion rates quarterly by school, by course, and by individual teacher. I also meet with each teacher individually after each grading period so that we can reflect on their own individual data. Another example of collecting data is that as a school, both BOZ and Virtual Academy, we do a unit recovery period after each grading term to identify students who only need a small portion of a class to complete, so we make individual plans to complete the work rather than having the student repeat the whole course. Additionally, this year, the BOZ BLT is conducting walkthroughs finding evidence detailing SEL competencies such as self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. Myself, as well as all BLT members, conduct a certain number of walkthroughs in other teachers' classrooms during each quarter, and then we look at that data as a staff. Finally, other leadership use of data occurs in BOZ and BHS partnership meetings that I have with Principal Sandoval, and I also have individual meetings with the BHS counselors where we look at data, along with my counselors at BOZ and VA, and then we use lots of data protocols and student support team meetings. Thank you for letting us share some of the ways that we use data in our programs.
Thank you. Is there any comments or questions from board members? Director Mickelson.
Just want to say that I'm the board member representative that's assigned to BOZ, and so I had the great pleasure of coming to the campus earlier this week and speaking with Principal Ron, and it was really great to be there and hear some of the great things that are happening, and a lot of information that you had to try to jam in there in a short amount of time. Great job. And one of the things that I definitely appreciated and think is a great strategy and a great goal at BOZ is the effort to make every student, when they show up, feel seen and be greeted, and and that really incorporating that as much as possible. The goal to incorporate that into VA. Students want to be seen. They want to they want to know that they're going to be missed if they're not there. That makes such a huge difference. With all of our goals in terms of attendance and being able to increase that, and how that leads into graduation rates. And I think that it's a great kind of initiative that you're taking with VA. You've seen the success with it at BOZ. So look forward to seeing what happens over time with it. And again, just really want to thank you for your time earlier this week. It was really great.
Thank you.
To be there. That's it.
So I just wanted to say thank you for your presentation and coming. I really like hearing about the collaboration and the team approach that we apply to our students. And I kind of think about it this way because I've been in healthcare for 25 years, and you think about doctors and providers and how they have like a collaborative team when they treat a patient. And when you think about how we treat our students and having a team approach, because when we look at our students, they deserve that same kind of care that you see out in like healthcare. Like we should collaborate together as educators to make sure they're getting the best education and focus in addressing all their needs as a student. I don't think we were always like that, as a society. And to see that coming forth in the way we approach our students, I just think is remarkable. And I appreciate all the time that we spend on focusing on our students getting the best education. So.
Thank you. And one thing, we have way more I could share for 2 hours. I'm so proud of my programs. But the collaborative approach we do use for conferences now, we do all team conferences. So everyone who works with the student is at the conference together at both BOS and VA. And ever since we started that in COVID, we've continued with that because it is a great model.
Yeah. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Our next report is the 2025-2026 fall enrollment and staffing report, which will be shared by Stacy Sovine, Executive Director of Administrative Services, and Aaron Tinklenberg, Director of Communications. Welcome to you both.
Good evening, Chair Werb, Dr. Daniels, members of the board. Every year we bring to you a report on our enrollment as of October 1st. This year we will be going through the information. I don't intend to read every chart and every table for you. It is a lot of data, but I will give you some high-level information with it. What we do with this presentation is we will look at the population as a whole for our K-12 as well as our early childhood programming. Then we also break it down by the composition. That'll be looking at our ethnicity breakdown. It looks at our free and reduced, our special ed, ML services, just different programming and what that looks like in the different areas. Also, we'll do a look back for the fall 24 numbers to kind of see 2-year trends on some of the information. Other areas have longer amounts as well. And then we also look at the trend data. So for 2025, our October count was for K-12, 7,066 students. That's cheeks and seats, as we like to say. That's actual count. It's not reflective of our average daily membership. So that's a good number for our October 1 count. We'd like to maintain that as long as we can, that type of enrollment throughout the rest of the year. Just to remind you, we budgeted for 7,021 K-12 students. So that's good news in that sense. We did lose students from our enrollment last year. However, we are above our budget at the moment. We have 570 students for early education. That'd be your birth through, like VPK, birth through 4. And so our total enrollment is 7,636. You can see the breakdown that we have for each of the grades throughout the district. This includes all schools, so when you look at secondary, that would include BOS, that would include the virtual academy for the high school, as well as the high school. Our 9th grade was a little bit smaller coming into this year, so they had a little bit of a pullback at the high school level, but our other grades are still above 500, which is promising in that. Current elementary enrollment is 3,223 students with an average building size of 358. Again, that is a little bit skewed when you throw in the virtual academy of 40 students, but that is what our look is for the buildings, by building. Middle school and secondary, you can see the breakdown for that. Again, the high school is just a little over 1,800, a little under 1,900. Let's go that direction. Nicollet and Eagle Ridge both came in a little bit larger than what we had projected, and we'll speak to that a little bit later. So that's kind of good news for our middle school programming. Current realities. So again, we have the ethnicity breakdown. You can see the breakdown for each classification of students, the percentage, what that looks like, as well as special education, ML services, and free and reduced, and what that is. Then we break that down by ethnicity per each building, so you can kind of see what the group, the makeup is for each of our sites. special education programming throughout the district. Thank you, Aaron. Breakdown for special ed, again, our average for the district is about 19% and the different programs throughout each of the sites. EL services is around 27% for the district, and you can see how they populate each of the sites as well. Students with free and reduced, and the breakdown for each of the buildings. And now looking back to previous years. In our audit report, you probably heard our auditors say that our numbers was still over 10,000. They were referring to the residents total. And that number for the district has stayed pretty flat over the past decade, about 500 students fewer that are within our boundaries. Then it breaks it down more specifically towards those who are attending our district. So that's 6,672 for 24-25. A number of students that attend elsewhere. That could be neighboring districts. It could be charter schools, private schools, homeschooling, and other tuition-based programming outside of the district. Also, you can see that we do attract a number of students that open enroll into our district, around 736 students. And then it gives you as well the net difference between the two. So total students we serve, 7,408, with 6,672 of those are residents, 736 are non-residents. And again, just a different way of looking at a breakdown of the information. You can see how many are attending the charter schools, residents attending elsewhere, or our district. Getting a little bit deeper into that dive, like I said, some of them are going to our neighboring districts, such as Rosemont-Napa Valley, Prior Lake, Bloomington, Shakopee. Shakopee had an increase this year, so I'd like to dive into that a little bit more. We do actually have residents that are just there by the Walmart, and so that still is our district over there as well. So we go far. Then again, a little bit more looking at where students are attending elsewhere, not only as districts, but also either charter schools or private schools. And break down even a little bit further and how that has trended over the years. And our trend data. So definitions for you as we look at the early childhood programming. ECSC is the early childhood special education programming. VPK is our voluntary pre-kindergarten, and SR would be our school readiness. And you can kind of see what those programs have looked like over the past 3 years as we go through. This will be some of the areas that I believe you'll start seeing some of our birth rate decline as well. So that'll be where we start hitting it. We are seeing it in our kindergartens. Our kindergarten classes are coming in smaller, but it also is reflective of our early childhood programming to a degree. 2-year comparison for elementary. Most of the schools are fairly stable. We have had a little bit of pullback at Harriet Bishop and William Byrne, but overall pretty flat across the district in elementary. Secondary as well, we already called out that we had a little bit smaller 9th grade class, so the high school stepped back a little bit with that. But do want to call out the fact that Eagle Ridge was around 34 students more, and Nicollet was almost 100 students more than what we were projecting. Both have really good signs there. So our 5-year enrollment trend, as you can see, we've been pulling back over the few years here. Again, better than what we budgeted, but we have pulled back a number of students from last year at this time. One of the things that we are also tracking is our grade cohorts. So what this reflects is coming in as a kindergartner, we track them as they go into first into second, and so forth. So we're tracking the same amount of kids. Looking at our cohorts, as you can see, we only had 2 grade levels or 2 cohorts that actually stepped back. All of the other cohorts actually increased. We really noticed that with our middle school, going from 5th grade into 6th through 7th, and then our 8th grade going into 9th grade. That's important that we were able to retain students in those cohorts, especially through your transition years. Going from 5th to 6th is a time in which families look at that as an opportunity, different choices, 8th to 9th. And then again, middle school is just hard. It always feels like you want to maybe shop around a little bit, but folks are appreciating the experience that they're having at our middle schools, and we're retaining those cohorts.
I'm just going to add a point about this. Part of the reason for including this here is that it is one of the measures on the dashboard, on the district strategic dashboard. It helps filter out a little bit of the noise that's caused by one large grade leaving 12th grade and a smaller grade coming in, which might be, based on just resident population. And this does represent about a 2% cohort growth year over year, as compared to last year, which was actually a 2% decrease. So definitely a positive sign.
Again, a little bit of breakdown then ethnicity over the last 5 years. You can see as far as the different classifications of students, those that are ebbing and then those that are increasing across the district. Special education trend, our percentage is fairly flat across the district over the last 5 years. The number of students has increased by about 150 that we're serving over a 5-year span. So again, fairly stable there. Our EL numbers over the last 4 years probably have remained pretty flat. We're right around that 25 to 27%. One of the things that I will point out is the number of students that are served as level 1 has actually continued to decrease. So they're advancing through the system. Their language proficiency is improving over time. So that's good. That's not always reflected when you just say EL students or the number that are served. We are progressing as well in those areas. Free and reduced meals, we are around 56% at this point in time. That number continues to decline over the past 4 years, so good economically. That does impact us though in other areas, but it's good for families. And staff diversity, which is also reflected, and I will turn that over to Aaron.
All right, so this is again a dashboard metrics for the board and for the district and our strategic dashboard. The numbers that you see here show an increase in diversity of the staff overall, an increase in the number of staff who self-identify as people of color. And just breaking it out a little bit, I always hate to do any small groups and do some self-identification, but superintendent was the largest percentage group. And then other more diverse groups there you can see as well. Some changes year to year that either reflect larger changes or changes that I think are of particular interest. The teachers as a group moved from 8.4% to 10.6% this year. That's also up from about 6.5% the year before, so trending in the right direction. Still obviously not representative of our community or our students, but moving in the right direction. And then our custodial group also took a pretty significant jump up as well. And then this is just a little bit about what we're doing. This slide is actually the exact same as last year's slide because these are the things we're doing and these are the things that seem to be having an impact. It's really important, I think, that we're not trying to do one thing, but that we're approaching it from a number of different angles. One thing that is not on here specifically, of course, is our CPSS work as a district, which is important for our students, of course, but equally important for our staff to make sure that it's a comfortable, enjoyable working environment for everybody, for every staff member. So I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Are there any comments or questions from board members? Director Mickelson.
Just a quick question about the free and reduced lunch percentage kind of population. How much do you think some of that descending kind of trend is because we have just free lunch for everybody, and so they're not completing the questionnaires and things, and kind of a new way of identifying them, like that the Department of Education has?
Well, there's a couple of things there. Pretty much it's direct certification, but also the state did sunset some of the numbers that were flowing through. So we probably still have the same amount of needs, we just don't have the same way in which is being identified.
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, I was kind of wondering, if that's kind of contributing to that percentage
As that whole
change.
kind of trickle
It's not
through.
really, yeah.
Yeah.
The actual needs. And also just wanted to make the comment that, the numbers with the cohorts as they're kind of transitioning with grades, I know that we've just had a lot of effort put into the outreach for families and students as they're making some of those transitions to help them to feel comfortable with them and welcome. And it's great to be seeing some of those results. So that was really great to see. So thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Director Alt.
Thank you. Yes, dovetailing on Director Mickelson's question, there was a time when we proactively had efforts to help families complete the educational benefits applications. What are we doing now?
I heard you, you're off.
I was just going to say less than we did in the past. It's definitely just the case that with the fact that lunches are free and breakfast is free for every student, we just have had less response in part. We've also, in terms of our outreach to families at the beginning of the school year, from a district lens, we've focused on some other priorities, including attendance and around immunizations in particular. But it's still obviously a very important thing, so we still include it in the information that we send out. I don't know if we've done any concerted efforts among school level calling and things like that. That's obviously something we can try to look at again in the future as well.
And I would argue that compensatory funding is incredibly important. And as an outflow of educational benefits applications, from a budgetary perspective, that is definitely a high priority in this board member's perspective. So we certainly can do more in terms of welcoming our families to complete those. I know that during conferences, that was something that we had done. Whatever we can do, because we know that budget compensatory is definitely something that's been an issue. Meals are free, but compensatory is not. So I also have a couple of other comments, questions. Let's see. Going back, yes. On slide, it was more of just a noticing. On slide 26, the district composition, K-12, it's just really wonderful to notice that our district has kind of settled in, and we are very comfortably a very robust district in terms of ethnic composition. We have, Hispanic, our Black students, our white students, and then a healthy mix of other ethnic groups that make up our student population. And we're not fluctuating necessarily, but our students have a really wonderful mix of other students to learn with and families to mix with. So I just really appreciate that since it's only 2024, but looking back at our demographic trends over the years, it's really nice to see that leveling out. So thank you for that. And that's all that I have.
Thank you. I'm sorry, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to add on to what Director Alt was saying, just being part of and chairing the legislative committee and putting forward our legislative agenda that we go to our legislators for to support our district. That compensatory is huge. It's almost 1.2 million impact on our budget, so it's something that I would stress. And then I just wanted to add on, in terms of the retention rate of the cohorts, hearing Principal Ron talk and you all talk about the data, it's very clear that the sense of community and belonging that students and families feel is what keeps them coming back. That's the retention rate that you're seeing. And so thank you.
You didn't have anything?
No, I was telling you about her.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay. So I wanted to go back to the slide where we talked about students that are coming in from other districts. Do we have, I'm sorry, I might have missed something. Does it say where other students are coming from that are coming to our district?
We do not have that breakdown on the presentation. No, we.
You don't know where the students are coming from that are outside our district?
I'm sure we have that
Okay.
information. It's just not in the presentation.
Okay. No, I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something we can find and
Okay.
share with the board.
All right. Thank you. I didn't have any other, I just had that one question, but thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on our agenda, we have our student representative report from Faven Tesfaye. Welcome.
Thank you. To begin, students have been wrapping up their procrastinated assignments as the first academic quarter comes to a close tomorrow. On the bright side, they look forward to a well-deserved day off this following Monday. Fall sports have been coming to a close, but not without some recognition, specifically the cross-country team, which achieved great success last week at the state tournament, where Carly Lamont placed 3rd and Leah Merrill 14th. Winter sports are also underway, with tryouts starting across multiple teams as athletes prepare for the new season. Burnsville High School's Theater Guild has opened its production of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, with the first show happening tonight, and performances will be running for the next 2 weekends. Lastly, I would like to highlight Burnsville High School's affinity groups, which have consistently created spaces for students to celebrate their cultures, identities, shared experiences. These groups include the Gender Sexual Alliance, open to all students to build community among LGBTQ+ and aligned youth, the Asian Student Association, promoting cultural unity and hosting events such as Diwali, the Latinos Unos, bringing together Latinx students to celebrate and shared common heritage, the Black Student Union, fostering unity and celebrating African American culture, Students of the Horn of Africa, a new club that launched this year to connect and celebrate students from the Horn of Africa, and lastly, the Indigenous Student Council, open to all students. This group uplifts and shares Indigenous stories, especially during this month, as it is Indigenous People Month. This now concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from board members? Okay. Thank you for your report. We will now hear a superintendent's report from Dr. LaTanya Daniels.
Thank you, Chair Word. As we conclude the first quarter of the 25-26 school year tomorrow, I want to take a moment to reflect on our collective progress and share exciting updates that signal the momentum we're building together. The first quarter has served as a meaningful baseline for the school year ahead. It has offered us insights into our strengths, surfaced opportunities for improvement, and laid the foundation for the transformational work that lies ahead. From classroom instruction to school climate, we are gathering data, listening deeply, and aligning our efforts to ensure every student feels seen, supported, and challenged. Additionally, in the last 2 weeks, I've had the privilege of completing 2 listen and learn sessions with staff, and I look forward to more in the coming weeks. These conversations have been rich with insight, candor, and care for the students, staff, and the entire school community. They are helping to shape our shared understanding of what's working and where we can grow. Next month, we will extend this effort to our broader community with the launch of our community listen and learn sessions. I am eager to hear from families, partners, and neighbors as we continue to build a district that reflects and responds to the voices of those we serve. And finally, I'm thrilled to announce that we have determined the date and venue for the class of 2026's graduation. Thanks to the thoughtful work of our graduation planning team, Principal Jesus Sandoval, Associate Principal Sarah Noble, Aaron Tinklenberg, Sarah Olson Dickhausen, Kyle Heinrichsen, and Dr. Chris Belmont, we've narrowed our options to 2 sites with 2 potential dates. We then brought those choices to our senior students and families who selected. Drum roll, please. Sunday, May 31st, 2026, at the University of St. Thomas's Lee and Penny Anderson Arena at approximately 6:00 p.m. This decision reflects the collaborative spirit that defines our school district. I am deeply grateful to everyone who contributed to this process and helped us arrive at a celebration worthy of the class of 2026's achievements. In conclusion, as we move into the second quarter, let's carry forward the energy, insight, and commitment we've cultivated so far. Together, we are building a district where each and everyone can believe, belong, build, and become with gratitude. And this concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from board members? Okay, thank you for your report.
You're welcome.
Do board members have any reports they wish to share? Just a reminder, we have our committee reports scheduled for our second meeting in November. Director Alt.
Thank you, Chair Werb. The negotiations committee met with the BEA last night. We offered a 2% increase in the first year and a 2% increase in the second year of the new contract. We continue to advocate for a starting teacher salary of $50,000. Both represent a competitive salary for a district our size with declining enrollment. Our next meeting is with a mediator later this month. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay. Now we will move to the business portion of the board meeting, starting with the consent agenda. Although board action is required, it is generally unnecessary to hold discussion on these items. In the event a board member wishes to discuss an item, that item will be moved for separate consideration. Do board members wish to remove any items from the consent items? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Go ahead. So moved.
Moved by Director Anderson.
Second.
Second by Director Chester. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Up first, under new business, we are being asked for preliminary approval of the DECA Annual International Career Development Conference field trip. Presenting the recommendation this evening will be Dr. Chris Belmont, Assistant Superintendent, Maggie Mayernick, Teacher and DECA Advisor, as well as some students. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Werb, Superintendent Daniels, members of the board. On behalf of Principal Sandoval, myself, I'm here with Ms. Mayernick seeking preliminary approval for a field trip to Atlanta, Georgia. As the board might recall, we come to the board seeking approval for any field trips that are international or could potentially result in students missing 3 or more school days.
And I would like to invite the student representatives to come explain what the field trip entails and its purpose.
Good evening, members of the school board and district staff. My name is Soliana Bain, and I am the president of Burnsville High School DECA.
My name is Julian Zitnik. I'm the vice president of membership.
My name is Abel Tinkashu, and I am vice president of fundraising.
Thank you for allowing us a few minutes to speak tonight. I first wanted to start by explaining really what DECA is. DECA is a student organization that prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. At Burnsville, our chapter helps students develop real-world business and leadership skills through competitions, projects, and community involvement. Each year, our members compete at the district and state level, and those who qualify have the opportunity to attend DECA's International Career Development Conference, or ICDC, which will be held this year in Atlanta, Georgia in the spring.
ICDC is the highest level of DECA competition, bringing together over 20,000 students from across the U.S. and around the world. It's a week-long experience filled with competitive events, leadership workshops, and networking opportunities with industry professionals.
We are here tonight to request approval for our chapter to travel to Atlanta and if any of our students qualify for ICDC. The trip will take place over the course of 1 week this spring, and we will work closely with our advisors to ensure that all district travel policies and safety guidelines are followed. We also plan to raise funds to help cover costs for students so that every qualifier has a chance to attend regardless of financial circumstances.
Okay, Superintendent Daniels, I think you have future executive leadership team members up here presenting tonight. So thank you again to our student presenters, and on behalf of DECA, we are seeking that the Board of Education approve the preliminary application for the DECA Annual International Career Development Conference, ICDC field trip taking place in Atlanta, Georgia, from April 24th through the 28th, 2026.
Is there a motion to approve the DECA field trip?
So moved.
Moved by Director Saxey.
Second. Second. Three-way second.
Seconded by Director Chester.
Sure.
Is there any discussion? Oh, Faven?
DECA, just being a student at Burnsville High School, has just garnered so much support and love, and it truly sets up such great leaders for the world one day.
Director Alt.
Just wishing you all the best. Hopefully we do get a number of qualifiers, and I'm sure you guys will represent 191 wonderfully.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Just want to say thank you for coming and presenting to us. I know that that's great practice for speaking in front of people, so thanks for coming. If there, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we are being asked to consider approving a concurrent enrollment, oops, I'm sorry, I missed one, yep. The next item on our agenda is approval of the financial audit report. Presenting this recommendation will be Tyler Denny, Director of Finance. Welcome.
Good evening, Chair Werb, Dr. Daniels, members of the board. Bergen KDV presented the audit results at the last meeting. The highlights include an unmodified or clean audit report, no compliance issues, no material weaknesses in internal controls, no single audit findings, and no legal compliance findings. The general fund unassigned fund balance increased by close to $5 million, and the total general fund increased by $5.25 million. Therefore, the recommendation is that the Board of Education approve the financial audit report for 2024-2025.
Is there a motion to approve the financial audit report?
So moved. Go ahead.
Moved by Director Alt, seconded by Director Chester. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Up next, we are being asked to consider approving a concurrent enrollment agreement with Minneapolis College. Presenting this recommendation will be Dr. Chris Belmont, Assistant Superintendent. Welcome back.
Thank you, Chair. I'm here presenting another concurrent enrollment agreement. These agreements kind of vary, and as the board can probably tell, in timeline when they arrive. This particular agreement is with two institutions, providing two different course experiences for our students. Students have the opportunity to earn 4 credits first semester via the concurrent agreement and another 5 credits through Inver Hills Community College second semester. Upon successful completion of both semesters, students can then earn their certified nursing assistant certification and work in a variety of health facilities or use the certification as a launch into a more advanced health sciences degree program. Therefore, it's my recommendation to the board that you approve the Minnesota State Colleges and Universities concurrent enrollment agreement presented between Burnsville High School, District 191, and the state of Minnesota, acting through its Board of Trustees of the Minnesota State Colleges and Universities. On behalf of Minneapolis College, formerly known as MCTC, and authorize the superintendent of ISD 191 to execute the agreement.
Is there a motion to approve the concurrent enrollment agreement?
So moved.
Moved by Director Saxe. Second. Seconded by Director Anderson.
I can't win tonight.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Up next on the agenda is to adopt a resolution to accept donations. Presenting the resolution this evening will be Superintendent Dr. Daniels.
Thank you, Chair Werb. Before I present the formal resolution, I just want to take some time to say thank you to the many community organizations and partners that support education in ISD 191. Their support of our programs are essential to our operations, and I am deeply grateful for their gifts. Tonight, I would like to start out by highlighting 2 recent donations that directly support our Pathways programming. Thank you to the Greater Twin Cities United Way and to the Robert Bosch Community Fund for helping us continue to develop this key district initiative. As many of you know, Brain Power in a Backpack is also an impactful program here in District 191, and I would like to name those organizations that have contributed recently to this program: the Target Employee Giving Program, the Cyber Grants Charity Aid Foundation, Dakota County Ship Food Shelf, Give Minnesota Mighty Cause Foundation, and U.S. Bank Employee Giving Program. Our community support of our schools is a tremendous strength for us here in District 191. Thank you to the following for their back-to-school donations to Sky Oaks Elementary: Carrie Canuet, Dale, Barbara, and Pam Johnson, Lori Standifer, Marsha Lewis, DigiKey, Burnsville Women of Today, Elite Professional Services, Northern Tool and Equipment, and PEO Chapter L Burnsville. Finally, I would like to say thank you to those families who made donations to our Food and Nutrition Services program. Once again, thank you to all our donors for their generous support. Therefore, it is my recommendation that the Board of Education adopt a resolution to approve and accept these donations to our district in accordance with the school board policy and Minnesota statutes, and to permit their use as designated by the donors.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolution to accept donations as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Director Chester.
Seconded.
Seconded by Director Mickelson. Is there any discussion? Having been moved and seconded, this resolution will require a roll call vote. When Sarah calls your name, please respond with aye or nay. Sarah, will you please make the roll call?
Director Saxe?
Aye.
Director Anderson?
Aye.
Director Chester?
Aye.
Chair Werb?
Aye.
Director Alt?
Aye.
Director Mickelson?
Aye.
This resolution was declared duly passed and adopted. Up next, we are being asked to approve on a first reading basis changes to Policy 208, Development, Adoptions, and Implementation of Policies. Presenting the recommendation for this policy will be Superintendent Dr. Daniels.
Thank you again, Chair Werb. We did review this policy in the Policy Review Committee on October 21st, 2025. And what we are recommending is that we include the personal electronic communication devices, including cell phones, to the list of policies required to undergo annual review. And so with that, we are recommending that change for the board's approval.
Is there a motion to approve policy 208 as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Director Anderson,
Second.
seconded by Director Saxe. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Moving along with policies, up next we will consider approving on a first reading basis changes to policy 509, enrollment of non-residents. Presenting the recommendation for this policy will be Stacy Sovine, Executive Director of Administrative Services.
Good evening again. I'm bringing to you policy 509 with a minimum amount of changes, just removing the process for the district lottery for those who are enrolling from outside the district. We're removing the established by school board policy and posted on the district's website. It's the policy piece, it's redundant. You do establish the high-level lottery piece under section D, but we go actually a little bit further in and offer lotteries throughout the summer, not just on January 15th. So that is posted on our enrollment webpage for that. So this did go before the Policy Review Committee on October 21st, 2025, and it's my recommendation that we approve this for our first reading.
Is there a motion to approve changes to policy 509?
So moved.
Moved by Director Anderson,
Second.
seconded by Director Saxe. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. Next, we are being asked on a first reading basis to formally rescind and remove regulations for policies 509, enrollment of non-residents, 715, purchasing and bid requirements, and 401, equal employment opportunity. Presenting this recommendation will once again be Stacy Sovine, Executive Director of Administrative Services.
Again, we have a number of recommendations, a number of regulations that have been kind of dormant now for a number of years, and they're getting to the point where they no longer align with the policies themselves or law or our practices. We do currently post all of these different regulations online. As far as like the financial piece, we have that under our business and operations webpage. Again, the enrollment is under the enrollment area. So in the bids, well, the bids is within the finance piece. We want to kind of hold on to the policies as the policies and allow the administration team and the departments to implement those in practices that are outlined in policy and not have two different documents that sometimes fight with one another.
Is there a motion to approve rescinding and removing these regulations?
So moved.
Moved by Director Saxe. Second. Seconded by Director Anderson. Is there any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. Director Alt.
Thank you. Yes, there was one caveat with the purchasing and bid requirements, that there would be conversation and discussion with the board about making sure that we're bringing our community along with being transparent and public with how the purchasing and bid requirements are handled. Not having looked at it myself in the website.
It is.
I don't know, but we'll have those conversations and make sure that we are being transparent with the community.
Yeah. And it is posted, so. Yeah.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. The final item on our agenda is a closed session as permitted by Minnesota Statute 13D.03 to discuss labor negotiation strategy. Is there a motion to close the meeting at this time to discuss labor negotiation strategy?
So moved.
Moved by Director Alt,
Second.
second by Director Chester. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. The time is now 7:34, and we will move to the HR conference room to discuss labor negotiation strategy. We will return to our open meeting immediately following the closed session. However, please note that having no further agenda items after the closed session, we will not be returning to the dais upon completion of the meeting. Thank you, and board members, please make your way to the HR conference room.